Well, Scotty, it would help if I hit the right fucking intro, wouldn't it?
Well, demonetized right away. Let's go.
Demonetized.
You got to wait a few seconds before you start dropping F-bombs.
Yeah, geez Louise, we're all over the place this morning. Welcome inside Doing Lines. You got the big O, Leon Oliver, sitting alongside Scotty Too Hottie. We've been demonetized. The intro's all jacked up. Everything's all jacked up. Let's see, can I hit the correct intro, and will it still play now? We're doing it live, like Bill O'Reilly. We're going live right now. Let's try
to some poor soul's algorithm, and as soon as they click on it, it's just you screaming the F word.
Here we go. That's better. It's Saturday morning, October 4th, the year of our Lord 2025. You're doing lines on the Let's Not Do This podcast. You got the big O sitting alongside Scotty Too Hottie. Chris is indisposed this morning. Of course, that roadkill Scotty on the side of the road does not pick itself up. He does have to earn his money somehow, some way. So he is not here this morning. But you are here. I'm here. We're ready to make some money. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Not as much energy as you apparently, but not too bad. I for some reason I had 8 o'clock on my brain, and I thought I overslept, so I was freaking out, and then realized the show starts at 9. So yeah, I do see you wearing your NC State gear. I guess probably because it's going to be your last win, probably against Campbell.
Hey, those boys from Bowie Creek, North Carolina, those fighting Campbells, they'll get after you, baby. We're 41 and a half to 42 and a half point favorites. I'm sure Carter Finley will be rocking for a mid-afternoon tilt against those fighting Campbells of Campbell University. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can see you're still kind of nervous because I sent Campbell as a joke as my underdog pick this week, and you started flipping out.
I was nervous because of my bank account. That's why I was nervous. This our governor, Glenn Youngkin, sent out some money to all Virginians. So the bank rolls for everyone across the Commonwealth are about a little bit $200 or so more richer today. So we're trying to make these people some money across the great Commonwealth and across these great United States of America, maybe even abroad if you're listening abroad. Maybe you're in Uruguay, or as Chris likes to say, you're gay, or you are gay, which he is. And that's okay. We're cool with that. We love him for that. We take all kinds here. But yeah, we're ready to make some people some money on some bets here. And let's get into it. Before we set the stage here, we got to bring up the standings, and I am still bringing up the rear. That's okay. I'm hanging in the back with the gear. I'm going to make my push. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Right now, I am bringing up the rear 22, 27, and 1. Chris is 23, 26, and 1, and you are batting 500 at 25, 25.
5 over 500 a week ago. I'll get back on it, though. I'm officially done with Sam Houston. I'm sure nobody was watching that game, but they had every opportunity to cover that one. I would not be surprised if a few years ago from now, I'm still waking up. Jesus. In a few years, if there's not some scandal news report that comes out that Sam Houston was betting against their own team, because man, they're terrible. Like, they refuse to run in a straight line to get a first down. Like, the first down's like right there, like 2 yards ahead, and they want to go to the sideline and try to run around people. They're dropping kickoffs at the 1 yard line instead of just letting it bounce. It was, never bet on Sam Houston ever again.
We're just waiting for the full expose in their lovely student newspaper, the Houstonian, there in Huntsville, Texas. I think the Piney Woods region. I want to say Texas. That's just not a good football team.
They need to go back down to Division II or wherever they came from.
FCS.
Quarterback's throwing the ball as hard as he can on a 2-yard screen pass.
Thanks to Joe Milton. Their coach, Casey Keeler, left to go to Temple, leading those Owls. The Owls were almost my upset play today, and we'll get to our underdog parlay later in the show. But I do like Temple as a home dog today. That was almost my upset play until I went in the lab and did a little bit extra work here. And I really do like my dog for today. So let's get into these picks here and see what we can do. These picks brought to you by absolutely no one. Once again, if you want to sponsor this, send an email to info@letsnotdothispodcast.com. We can put your graphic right up here on the show. We can talk about your product, whatever you want to plug, and help you, help us, help you, help us. So without further ado, let's get to it. Scotty, since you're still waking up the echoes like Notre Dame hopes to do when they're at home against Boise State as a big favorite today, I guess I'll go ahead and lead the charge. And when you speak of leading the charge, who better than our service academies, sir? And for that, we have the United States Naval Academy in lovely Annapolis, Maryland, hosting the United States Air Force Academy. Air Force, by the way, going with their Air Power Legacy Series uniforms for this game, honoring the F-16 Fighting Falcon, Scotty, one of the greatest planes we've ever had in our arsenal in the United States Air Force, and any aerial arsenal pretty much for any country across the world. That plane did a lot of good for us. So Air Force honoring that with those uniforms, looking spiffy as always. Scotty, did you know the stat on Service Academy unders?
No, but I know it's pretty good to the under. If you've been just blindly betting unders, you've been making a lot of money.
Yes, since 2005, as my good friend Tom Fernelli likes to say on the Cover 3 podcast, Service Academy unders since 2005 are 47, 12, and 1. Once again, Service Academy unders in games where they play each other, the Commander-in-Chief Trophy, Army, Navy, Air Force, that triumvirate, they're 47, 12, and 1 since 2005. And when the total is over 50, that under is 25 and 1. There's a few things in this life you can count on: death, taxes, Taylor Swift's new album breaking the internet, and unders in Army, Navy, and Air Force football games. I'm not going to keep any suspense on this one. That's where I'm going. Navy, they average 54.5 rushing attempts a game. Air Force, 50.5 rushing attempts a game. That's over 100 combined rushing attempts. That clock is a running. Navy, they average about 30.5 seconds per play against FBS opponents. Air Force, they're at 27.6. So Tony Bennett would love this, former Virginia basketball coach. These are two of the slowest teams in America playing each other. I'm not even going to go down the whole cadre of offensive stats. I'm not worried about Air Force's weak pass defense, which is ironic that the Air Force has a bad pass defense, but I digress because we don't need to worry about that against Navy. Under. Hammer it all day. I'm going under 51.5 in the first leg of the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy here with Navy and Air Force.
I think ESPN might have a 52.5. Yeah. So we'll give you an extra point.
Nice. Okay. I did see 52.5 somewhere yesterday when I put that in, and I saw it updated right before. So yeah, if I can get a 52.5, even better. Under, ladies and gentlemen. You can go ahead. You know what? Christmas is coming here soon. Hanukkah's coming here soon. All that stuff. Got to get gifts for the husband, the wife, the kids, Aunt Sarah, whoever it is. Go ahead and start putting that money right now on this. Make those Christmas gifts right now with the under.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. And I think Navy's going to cover this. So I think Air Force is going to struggle to score points. They have 2 or 3 drives without scoring, and you pretty much have your under already. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like this a lot. And by the way, the average combined score between these two when they've played the last 5 times is 40.8 points. So they got to go like 11 points. If you're giving me a 52, they got to go like 11 points over the historical average to hit that. So yeah, I'm not worried about that. So give me under in this one here. All right, moving on. A game that won't be going under. I can tell you where I'm going on this one. College game day heading to Tuscaloosa there. Alabama looking for revenge. The Tide coming off that win over Georgia last week. And now they got Diego Pavia and Big Bad Vanderbilt coming to Bryant Denny Stadium. The Doors, Scotty, 5-0, number 16 team in the land. Here's a stat for you this week. Virginia and Vanderbilt both ranked. Oh, I forget the stat now off the top of my head. It was the first time they both been ranked in like, I don't know. I think Nixon was in office the last time it happened. So Virginia and Vandy both ranked, but Vanderbilt coming into Tuscaloosa and talking shit. Diego Pavia this week said something along the lines of if they play their game, it's not even going to be close. Johnny Football, by the way, is going to be at this game, apparently on the Vanderbilt sideline. Apparently he has become friends with Diego Pavia. I like Vanderbilt. I like what Clark Lee's doing. I love everything about it. Usually I root against the nerd schools because, they're nerds. But I like Vandy. Vandy's got like a coolness about them. And they used to be a football powerhouse like 100 years ago. Original SEC member. I like Vandy. They got good bones. It's like when you buy a house that's like run down, but it's like, it's got good bones. Vanderbilt has good bones. But that being said, Alabama is going to win this game comfortably. I don't like that 11.5. That's what kept me away from Bama covering. If there's a 10.5 or something like that out there, still maybe I might sprinkle a little something on that. But both of these offenses can march it up and down the field. And Bama, if they get a chance to go up in this game and twist the knife a little bit on Vandy, they haven't forgot last year. They're going to do it. And Vandy's going to keep scoring as well. That over 56.5 is going to hit. I think we'll probably see 60 points in this game. Easy. Give me the over 56.5 at Bryant Denny.
Yeah, I don't hate that one either. I'm with you on the side too. It feels like Bama should cover, but it kind of feels like that in every Vandy game. Going back to my Hokies, I thought we were going to beat them and we were looking good for a half of football, and then the second half happened. You just never know with Pavia. He looks fluky. He does like weird shit every game, and it just keeps working. And I'm definitely going to be rooting for them to beat Bama, so I don't have to hear "Roll Tide" a million times. But yeah, so maybe I'll make one of those bets where I just want to root for, or I might go with the over. I couldn't really decide. I don't love any bet in this game, but I'll place something on it. Maybe even a small bet on Vandy money line just to have some fun. We'll see. But yeah, the over makes some sense. Both offenses rolling. Ty Simpson, night and day from his first game against Florida State, went out there and just balled out against Georgia. Maybe they have some kind of a letdown, but this is also a revenge spot, so maybe not. It should be, if not over, it should be right around that number. So there's going to be some points put up.
And, usually you go back, you look at teams like the week after playing Georgia, stats usually aren't that great, but this ain't that same Georgia team.
No.
Lane Kiffin kind of talked about in the media this week how, these dynasties are kind of over in the SEC. I mean, there's guys on 2 deeps before that, 3 deeps that would, be starters at other places and stuff. Teams aren't necessarily stacking talent the way they were. This Georgia team is good that they Bama beat last week, but nowhere near the past national champion Kirby Smart Georgia teams. So I don't think that emotional toll was as big as it would have been in past years for Alabama. Also, I mean, they didn't dominate Georgia or anything, but they kind of held Georgia at bay most of that game. I don't think Georgia was ever a real threat to win that game. So I don't think they necessarily had that big emotional win. And then you would have that drop off. And you mentioned, the revenge factor. They haven't forgot about that. Trust me. Every Auburn fan, A&M fan, Kentucky fan, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good Vanderbilt is. They still had the name Vanderbilt next to them. And if you're Alabama, you shouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt. It's one of those narratives, They've been hearing it. They've been hearing it from everyone. They are going to want to go out there and literally roll Tide and put the pedal to the metal. So, yeah, I love the over in this game. This might be a game too, Scotty, where I might take a look maybe fourth quarter or so if Bama's up, seeing what that spread is on Vanderbilt to cover. Maybe if that's a little inflated, if I can get plus money on something for them to cover 15 or something like that, I might take that.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. So, all right, give me the over in this game. My last college game, I believe you and I both have this game, Miami, Florida State. College game day would have been here.
Going back to the last game, Chris has that on his card too. He's going Vandy plus 11.5. So he's probably Alabama overrated. Vanderbilt good. Vanderbilt plus 11.5.
What
would be what he would say?
Is Theo Vaughn a Vanderbilt guy?
He's like, where is game day?
Game day is at Tuscaloosa. It's on the last graphic. Game day's there.
So maybe he is, because I think Theo Vaughn is the guest picker, I think.
Yeah, he's the guest picker. I know he's gone to like 17 colleges. He's like the only person that's gone to more colleges than me. And who's the quarterback that's bounced around?
He didn't go. He's not smart enough to go to Vandy, I don't think. But he is friends with Pavia.
Okay. Oh yeah.
He won a date with his mom because they beat whoever they beat last.
Yeah, he I think it was South Carolina with that win. He won the date. Yeah. He depending on how that date went, he may be more than friends.
Yeah, it might. Yeah.
How that went. Yeah.
So we know who he's picking.
Yeah. So this matchup, next one here, game day would have been here if it wasn't for the Virginia Cavaliers extinguishing the spear of the Florida State Seminoles and their hopes for a perfect season. But hey, still, nonetheless, this is going to be a phenomenal game. I'm looking forward to it. When you think college football, this is always one of those marquee rivalries. I mean, we got a wide left and 4 or 5 wide rights in this series. And I mean, literally, when you could talk about games, just wide right 1, wide right 2, that tells you the magnitude. But you can just talk about one play, one kick in this series. Guys getting together, pushing and shoving, fisticuffs before the game. I love it. These two teams hate each other, and hate, I don't think, is a strong enough word. And I love that both of these programs are back to some prominence where this game means something here. Miami, number 3 team in the land, heading to Tallahassee, taking on the 18th ranked Seminoles. Thomas Castellanos has breathed an absolute just energy into this Florida State program. It's amazing what having a capable quarterback can do for you. That being said, I'm going to take Miami in this game to cover that 4.5. Why am I going that way? Virginia gave the blueprint last week to beat Florida State. Thomas Castellanos, his fatal flaw is the blitz. He is 114th out of 133 qualified quarterbacks in positive EPA rate against the blitz. He is ranked 132 out of 145 in this metric last season when he was at Boston College. Virginia, they gave the map on how to do this last week. They blitzed on 41% of his dropbacks, and they generated 51% pressure rate there. Castellanos was 5 of 13 for 2 picks against Virginia's blitz. What does Miami do? Miami blitzes 35.5% of the time. That's 25th nationally. Florida State ranks 130th in pressure rate allowed against the blitz. I think that's going to be the difference here. Everyone talks about Carson Beck, and he's been really good in Miami, but he hasn't had to necessarily be the savior. They've been able to run the ball. They got good receivers, and no one's talking really about their defense. Carson Beck gets so much attention, but Miami's defense is elite, and their pass rush will get after you. Ruben Bain, 14 quarterback pressures on 95 rushes. That's a 14.7% pressure rate. He's got 4 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. He's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft next year. And Miami is 9th in pressure rate on non-blitzes. So even when they don't blitz, they're getting home. And by the way, Florida State gave up 230 yards rushing earlier this season as well. So yeah, Miami can move the ball on them a little bit too. So yeah, give me Miami to cover this spread here. And I think the difference is going to be a late interception, a late fumble, some late quarterback induced turnover from that Miami defense. Give me Miami to cover.
All right, I'm on this game too, and I am going the other way. So we're going head to head. I'm going Florida State plus the 4.5. Miami is coming off a bye, but their coach is Mario Cristobal, so that might not be a good thing if he's doing too much coaching. And yeah, if there's anything that can serve as a wake-up call for Florida State, it's losing the UVA. That was a clear look-ahead spot, clear trap game. So I'm not taking too much into that result. Yeah, I think they bounce back here. They have they're number 2 in the nation in yards per play on offense, and I wasn't really too impressed with Miami against Florida. I think Florida in that first half, their offense is so bad. I don't know if it was much that Miami was doing. I think it's just Florida is that bad. But second half, Florida kind of gave them a little scare. It was closer than that 26-7 score for Miami in Florida 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think maybe we I think Mario might start crystal balling here this week. I mean, Miami kind of did this last year. Went on a run to begin the season. We thought they were going to make the playoff, and then they kind of fell apart at the end. Maybe that starts here. Either way, I think it'll be a close game. I don't know if Florida State's going to win, but I'm going to take the 4.5 points. Florida State's going to be up. The crowd's going to be crazy. Night game. Give me the points with Florida State.
Nice. I see everything you are saying there. I just think Florida State's offense is great. I just think those stats are a little inflated. I mean, they beat Kent State 67-13. They beat East Texas A&M 76-0. Which, by the way, do you know what East Texas A&M was called prior to like last year?
No, don't.
Texas A&M Commerce. So a school that's changed its name that most of America still didn't know existed there. I just, when you look at when they played actual competition, they went 1-1. They beat Bama. They lost to Virginia. In those games against real actual competition, Castellanos has completed 64% of his passes, 4 TDs and 3 picks. Those numbers are okay, but competition level matters, and they have an elite defense coming in here. I'm just not sold on their body of work against teams that have a pulse.
Yeah, I just don't know if we can take too much from the UVA game. Just that obvious situational spot for Florida State.
It'll be interesting. That's going to be a hell of a contest. I can't wait. Literally, like 10-year-old Leon is going to be so psyched up for this. I just remember as a kid, like Keith Jackson on the call on ABC and hearing this game and the pushing and the shoving beforehand and stuff. I mean, this is what college football is about. I'm sorry, it's like Dave Chappelle, Clayton Bigsby. If you got hate in your heart, let it out. And that's what I love about college football is the hate in these rivalries. These two teams don't like each other. The fans don't like each other. Let's settle it on the field. It is going to be a fun one in Tallahassee. So
yeah, I'll be looking forward to Michael Irvin on the sideline going nuts.
Oh my God. Michael Irvin might get out there and try to fight Chief Osceola before he plants that spear. We'll see how pumped up he is. Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he saw the name of this show and he tuned in.
The comments of Scotty Too Highly are not those. So let's not do this podcast doing lines or its subsidiaries. Oh man, you want to go next? Or you want Chris to do his college card as you do it in his stead?
I can go next.
All right, we'll bring you up next here. We got Iowa State, the Cyclones, 5-0, heading to Cincinnati. Insert Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, somehow related pun here, as they're 5-0, taking on the 3-1 Bearcats. Cincinnati, trendy pick. I'm seeing a lot of people go for an upset here. Noon on ESPN. Cyclones laying 1.5 over under 55.5. Where are you going on this?
You said Cincinnati's a trendy pick?
I'm seeing a lot of people across the country.
Well, it must be smart people because the public's on Iowa State pretty heavy, and Cincinnati is favored in most places. This must have came off at ESPN.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess I'm going with your trend. But like I said, the public is all over Iowa State. Cincinnati is just football is one of those teams that nobody ever talks about because it's Cincinnati football. Like they've never really been relevant other than a year or two. But I watched them last week beat my Kansas Jayhawks. Pretty exciting game. I mentioned Florida State being second in yards per play on offense. Cincinnati is number 3 in the nation. That offense is efficient. They don't go deep a lot, but they'll take what the defense gives them. They'll just methodically go down the field, short pass, run, go all the way down the field. The quarterback, Brennan Sorsby, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's got 10 touchdowns and 1 interception, and I think a 69% completion percentage. So he's playing pretty well. I think he's better than the Rocco Becht that everybody talks about for Iowa State. I just think that 5-0 record, they're not that good. I don't think they're the 14th best team in the country. I think Iowa State goes on the road against Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's a better team. They're at home. Nobody's talking about Cincinnati. Maybe they will after this week. They get a number by their name. I just like this Cincinnati team. I think they're underrated. Iowa State's a little overrated. Give me the Bearcats.
Going with the Cats. And, Scotty, you are right. Cincinnati is favored here. I swear to you, I checked this graphic right before the show.
No,
I changed it to Iowa State on ESPN because that's where I pulled these lines from for the graphic. Is what ESPN has. Right before the show, I changed it to Iowa State minus 1.5 because I saw that. I'm looking at ESPN.com now. It's on Cincinnati minus 1.5.
It is moving them. So I'm going to take the money line. It's minus 110 on ESPN.
Okay. Going minus 110 on the Bearcats here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Iowa State has some injuries and some concerns in the secondary there. One point that I've heard some people make is the kicking game for Iowa State. They are a little dinged up, and they got a walk-on kicker. Well, they didn't exactly just go into the campus bookstore and pull the guy that was stocking the Psych 301 books on the shelf. The kid that's the walk-on was like an all-region kicker or something like that in high school. He had a bunch of offers to go to other schools, but apparently he's a Cyclone through and through, wanted to play P4 football, so he went and walked on at Iowa State. So, yeah, he's not exactly a slouch there. So I don't think that's going to make much of a metric. But, yeah, Cincinnati's sneaky good, and this is going to go a long way to kind of sorting things out in that Big 12. That's a fun conference, a very beat up on each other conference too.
Yeah, and this will be the best offense Iowa State has played by far.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, all right, going with Cincinnati there. You're taking a money line for the Bearcats. Oh, you know what? And the Travis Kelce, Luck, the Taylor. I see what you're doing.
Didn't even think about that.
Before we switch to the next one, I'll bring it up real quick. But I did see a stat today that Purdue is winless on games after Taylor Swift releases an album. I think they're like 0-9 all time. Now they're playing Illinois, and I know in a lot of places last time I looked at that line yesterday, it was like 8.5 or so that the Boilermakers were getting. Don't necessarily hate it, but yeah, they are winless, and apparently Ohio State is undefeated after she releases an album. So do with that what you.
That's silly. That's because Ohio State wins a lot of games and Purdue doesn't.
Exactamundo.
Yeah, you can find anything where Purdue's 0-8.
I worked with a guy who did data analytics for our company, and he always told me, I just give you the numbers. You can take these numbers, and you can tell 2 different stories. And I've seen it done in meetings, but I just give you the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of numbers, Florida 1-3, but they're, in my opinion, the best 1-3 team I've seen in a while. But Billy Napier feeling that hot seat, taking on 3-1 Texas, the 9th-ranked Longhorns. Texas laying the 5.5 as they go into the swamp. Over under 42.5. 3:30 on the mothership. What say you?
Yeah, we got 2 disappointing offenses, 2 overrated quarterbacks so far. I really wanted to take Florida plus 5.5, but I don't know. They just seem to always do something so far this year to not cover or to screw it up. So I'm actually going to take the under 42.5. 2 really good defenses, 2 struggling offenses. Texas just played a bunch of nobodies in those games that they've won. And they're like celebrating beating Sam Houston, like talking shit. Like, come on. Now they're playing a real team. Florida has played a lot of unders against some really good teams. South Florida, who are the other two they played? Miami, LSU. In those 3 games, the highest total was 34 points. So their defense is keeping them in games or trying to, and they're not scoring a lot of points. So this Texas defense is really good. So they're probably not going to score a lot of points again. And I think they can hold Arch Manning to under this total. Probably be a pretty ugly game. Hear a lot of Arch Manning overrated coming out. I just think both defenses show up. I'm not so confident about the offenses. And it's supposed to be pretty windy.
Yeah.
So give me the under 42.5.
Don't hate it, Scotty. I don't hate that at all. I got a friend that was in Austin a couple of weeks ago at that San Jose State game that Texas won 38-7, and he was saying the natives were none too pleased. There was a lot of booing going on for Arch there. Then they only scored 27 against UTEP, and they got right. I guess you could, as most people have gotten right against Sam Houston in that 55-0 win last week. We're going to find out what Florida is made of. What Texas is made of. Listen to this stretch. You go to the Swamp to take on Florida today. You have Oklahoma. Yes, no John Mateer, but you have Oklahoma coming up, that Red River rivalry game next week. Then you go to Kentucky. Yes, the Cats are down, but Lexington can be a tough place to go to. To Stark Vegas to take on Mississippi State, who showed some life, who almost knocked off Tennessee. Then you got Vandy at Georgia. Arkansas, you'll probably take care of. And then a little showdown with Texas A&M. We're about to find out what Texas is made of during the stretch, and can they answer the bell? And if they stumble here, we got some questions about them the rest of the way. I like the under in this one. I think this is not going to be a pretty game.
Yeah, I'll say the one real game that Texas played in, although it was week 1, Ohio State 14-7.
Mm-hmm.
So each time these teams play real teams, they're not coming close to this total.
Yeah. All right. I hate that I'm agreeing with you on stuff.
I know it is weird. We're agreeing too much, except for the Florida State game,
and which
you just went back to.
Yeah, because I had it on your graphic too. So you and I are on opposite sides. I'm on the Miami covering. You're taking Florida State plus the points here on this one. So that rounds out your college card. Let's go.
Thought it was voice activated for a second. You just say a team and the graphic pops up.
Pops up, yeah. Trust me, if it was, Jennifer Aniston would be in like all these things for me, Jen, give me a call. Okay. Next up, we got Clemson and North Carolina. 2 coaches who thought things were going to go a lot better this year. Dabo feeling the heat. I don't know if Bill feels the heat. He's just doing whatever Jordan Hudson tells him to do down there in Chapel Hill right now. Heels 2-2, Clemson 1-3, Tigers laying 14.5, over under 46.5, noon on the mothership. This is on Chris's card. You have Chris's pick. What is he saying here?
He is taking the points with UNC, which is kind of gross. But I guess both of these teams is a worse version of the Florida Texas game. Just both of them have been disappointing. I don't know. This feels like a get right game for Clemson. But I keep saying that with Clemson, so who knows? Maybe taking the points is a smart move. But yeah, he's taking the 14.5 with UNC. I can't bet that. I'd probably take Clemson.
This feels like I used to always reference Joe Giglio on the Ovis and Giglio podcast, where Clemson would have one of those "fuck you, we're still Clemson" games and just walk all over someone. I don't know if this Clemson team has that in them. I just don't. I don't see it. And Clemson the last few years has been okay. We're going to punch the ACC in the mouth, and then when we go and play real teams out of conference or go to the playoff, we get smacked around then. But they've been the bully until the bully meets other bullies. I don't know if this Clemson team's a bully anymore. I don't think they're buying what Dabo is selling anymore. It's kind of like watching the fall of the Roman Empire. Not that Clemson was the Roman Empire, but you get my drift. I think motivation's got to be a real factor for both of these teams. Like who is still checked in, who is all in, put their chip in the bucket. I think they used to do. Who's all in? I just don't know. I know Carolina had some guys going to the portal. A lot of things coming out of Chapel Hill that the vibes are just off behind the scenes. And you're going to get that when a guy like Bill comes in, especially year one. Guys are going to think that they're up for the kind of coaching that we think he's given, but we don't know because there's not a lot of stuff coming out of that program directly, except for Jordan Hudson's fashion show and her being on the sidelines. Who knows? It's just a bizarro world down there. This game is just absolutely gross. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. If I had to bet something, it might be the under, just because I don't think either one of these offenses can find themselves out of a wet paper bag. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not betting this.
Yeah. Gross. All right, moving on to the next one here. Kansas State at Baylor. K-State 2-3. The Bears 3-2. Baylor laying 4.5 over under 60.5 there noon on ESPN Plus. Boy, you got your first streaming only game of the day. Nothing like that Big 12 on ESPN streaming, baby. What is Chris saying here? Is he going with the Fighting Avery Johnsons?
No, he's fading them. I know he hates he's always hated their quarterback, probably because of his hair. But I think he's just fading disappointing teams. He's taking the 4.5, or taking Baylor to cover the 4.5. I don't hate that. Baylor's been a much better team so far. They're at home. I don't know. Maybe this is the game where Kansas State, no expectations. Maybe they start playing better. Probably another one I'm staying away from. I do think there would be some points. State is a high number, but yeah, I don't know. Another one I'm staying away from. But he's taking Baylor minus 4.5.
Not touching this game with a 10-foot pole. The only thing I do know is we won't see Avery Johnson's dad and brother get into a knockdown, drag-out brawl in the streets. Because if you know your Texas history, Baylor, very conservative school usually with the alcohol and the dancing and the stuff back in the day. I don't know how much the tailgating scene is going on there. Was it McLean Stadium there by the river, the banks of the Brazos River there? Pat McAfee's not there to dive into the river and almost impale himself on the log like he did that one time. So yeah, I'm not sure how pumped up they're going to be there. So I'm just staying away from that. Like ESPN chose to stay away from actually broadcasting it and just stuck it on that streaming service that you're paying $29.99. Say that 5 times fast a month for. All right.
So it's actually moved to 4 even at a couple places. So we'll give them the 4.
Okay. Give them the 4. That's what Chris usually gives the 4. So now he's getting the 4.
They call him a 4.
Pretty much. Well, that's being generous. I've heard girls say he's a hard 2. All right, moving on to the next pick on his card here. He had Bama and Vandy as well. What did he have on this?
He's got Vandy plus 11.5.
Vandy plus 11.5, and then I went with the over 56.5 on this game here. So that rounds up the college portion as we re-rack it like a typewriter and roll over to the NFL side. I guess I'll open things up on this one. Sunday morning football on the NFL Network and NFL Plus. The Vikings, they've been on holiday, been over in Europe now. First team to play in Europe in back-to-back weeks. They played in Dublin, lost to the Steelers last week. And now the Vikings invade London to take on the Browns with Dillon Gabriel making his first career start. Nothing like making your first start and you're not even on the North American continent. And you get to face Carson Wentz. And the Vikings. It's so gross. The over-under in this game is 36.5. They are just screaming for you, the books are, for you to go ahead and take the over on this game. And you know what, Scotty? I ain't going to do it. Both offenses are broken. The Vikings, going back to their last 6 games, that goes back to week 18 of last year, they're averaging 17.7 points a game. All right. They're 30th in the NFL right now in third down conversion rate at just 30.61. They have a 13.1 sack rate through 4 games. That's 4th highest since 2018. Something's wrong. Kevin O'Connell's in a slump. I'm not sure what it is. They are like second in penalties with 37. They're first in pre-snap penalties. And the Browns ain't much better. They're 27th in total yards, 25th in first downs, 31st in points. And then you got the third round pick, Dillon Gabriel, making his first ever start. And you're doing it across the pond. There's no Cedric Tillman. Oh, and by the way, you have a rookie quarterback making his first start across the pond, taking on a Brian Flores defense. Bad news bears all the way around. Both of these teams are going to lean on the run game, short passes, clock management. They're going to do enough to try to not put themselves in the position to lose the game. I'm going with the under 36.5 in this one.
And that's on your card.
That is on my card.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, Chris has this too. I think he's just blind betting the Browns at this point because he's taking the let me make sure the number's still the same, but he's taking the Browns plus the points, plus 3.5. Yeah, it's 3.5 everywhere. So, yeah, he's just going to bet the Browns every week, I guess. Yeah, I think the Vikings are going to win and cover, and I think the under should hit, but this could be a case where both quarterbacks turn the ball over and give the other teams points. Could be an ugly over cover like that. But yeah, you mentioned it, Dillon Gabriel. I don't know if they're trying to set up Shedeur to start next week or what, but to have your whatever round was he, fourth, fifth round rookie quarterback?
Gabriel, he was third round, I think.
Third, okay. Well, regardless, making his first start in Ireland, probably didn't have a full time to prepare against a pretty good defense that's been in Ireland for a week, that has the most Irish-looking quarterback in the NFL in Carson Wentz. He's probably become a cult hero there in the week that he's been there.
This game's in London, so don't confuse England and Ireland. They do not like each other. No. They do not like each other.
So they moved from Ireland to London?
Yeah,
they played in Ireland last week, right?
They were in Ireland last week, lost to the Steelers. Then they made the short hop on over to the UK.
Okay.
And now they're taking on the Browns in London. Yeah, don't confuse the Irish and the English. There's some beef there. We don't need the IRA knocking on our door, sir.
Hey, if it brings viewers. All right, well, screwed that up. But yeah, still the same. I was joking about that anyways. But yeah, Vikings have been over there. So yeah, the Browns have the travel disadvantage. I don't know, this is gonna be an ugly game. This might make Europe just disown us for forever, or at least the sport of football. Yeah, I would probably, I don't know, I'm gonna look at a player prop on this. But if I had to take a side or total, I'm probably taking Minnesota to win by a touchdown.
You know, Scotty, the more I think about this game, I think back going to the War of 1812 and August 24th, 1814, the British came to D.C. and they burned the city and, you know, they set the White House on fire. And we get the famous story of like Dolly Madison saving the Constitution and stuff, even though she really didn't save it. She had one of the people working there save it, but still, that's beside the point. This may be paid because that war was pretty much pointless. It was like, okay, we're going to fight you again, England, and then all the borders and everything kind of go back to where they were pre-1812. So it was like really a pointless war. Nothing was accomplished. And we've been pretty much BFFs with England ever since then. Maybe there's a little animosity, and we decided, you know what? You did burn, you know, the symbol of our government, you know, so we're going to send you this game and make you have to pay money to watch it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's paying reparations for the English for what they did to DC in the War of 1812. I don't know. This game is gross. It's just morbid curiosity, I guess, is why the Brits would be over there wearing their, you know, Maurice Jones-Drew Jaguars jerseys and their, you know, John Kitna Bengals jerseys and stuff, and finally being able to drink a pint in the seats because you can't drink at your seat in the Premier League. So, yeah. There's other than consuming a ton of booze and just watching football for the sheer curiosity while you're over there, there ain't no reason to watch that game or buy a ticket for this game. That being said, I'm going to bet on it.
Yeah, at least they get to see a left-handed quarterback.
That's very true. And you get to see a very pouty Shedeur Sanders on the sideline there. You mentioned setting him up to start. I don't think they have any plans to do anything with him anytime soon, because if they liked him, he would have started here. And if you're Shedeur, the reports that came out, you know, a week or so ago that he could have went to Baltimore, but didn't want to sit behind Lamar. Well, doesn't that look stupid now? The Ravens are having their own struggles, but Lamar's injured right now. He's out this week. You could have been making a start. If he went to Baltimore, he probably would have been the guy under center this week. Instead, now you're sitting behind old man Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel this week. Smart move there, Shidor. Real smart.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I've heard people say that. I mean, you can't predict injuries, and he's not. And who knows how true that is, anyways, if that happened. But if that is the case, he's not saying he wants to start 1 or 2 games a year. He wants to be the starter. Like Lamar's going to come back, take that job back, no matter who the backup is. Yeah, he's got a chance to actually be the starter here in Cleveland if he gets a shot. But yeah, I mean, if Gabriel comes and just looks terrible overseas in his first start, the fans are going to start calling for Shador. And I don't know if you can put him as the backup right now, because he is going to have those fans. As soon as Gabriel throws an interception, they're going to be calling for him. And maybe that's why they are starting him overseas. I don't know. It's the whole situation's kind of weird. But yeah, if he goes and has 2 or 3 interceptions, they lose, and it's ugly. Who knows? Shador might be starting next week.
We'll see what happens, but gross game. Gross. Next game on my card here, we got the Broncos and the Eagles heading to the link. Bo Nix's boys 2-2, Philadelphia 4-0. Eagles laying 4.5 over under 44.5. 1 o'clock Sunday on CBS, America's most watched network, the Network of Stars. I am intrigued by this game. I think, and I know if Chris was here, he'd be just trying to shit all over the Broncos right now. I know he is not a fan of Sean Payton. He is not a fan of Bo Nix. But I like Philadelphia in this game. I like Denver in this game. I like Denver to cover that 4.5. Scotty, is there another number out there? I thought I saw 5 somewhere earlier, maybe.
No, because it's actually going the other way now.
Okay, maybe that was
out there.
Got you. Maybe that was just yesterday. Okay. But here's the thing. You got Philadelphia's vulnerable. All right. They're 4-0. We see them, win close games. Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half last week. That's going to be a problem against this Broncos defense. You can get away with that against Tampa, but against this Denver defense and the way that they like to play, that's a problem. We haven't necessarily seen Saquon break out yet either. And Denver is good against the run. At some point, Jalen Hurts is going to have to put the ball in the air and complete it. And you got these 2 great receivers in Brown and Smith, and they're just both sitting there. It's like the old guy that, buys a car and never takes it out, or like the old lady that, my grandma died. I'm selling her car. She only drove it to the post office. It's like a 2012 with like 15,000 miles on it, That's what these Philadelphia wide receivers are right now with Jalen Hurts throwing the football. They're just getting nothing right now. A.J. Brown, was visibly frustrated last week, and I think this game is going to help exacerbate those issues as well. Denver is balanced. They got a top 10 offense. They got a top 10 defense. We saw them put up 28 points, 500 yards against the Bengals last week. Yes, the only thing worse than the Bengals defense was the Maginot line in World War II. I get that. But J.K. Dobbins, his rushing total has gone up each week. 63, 76, 83, 101. Bo Nix with a strong rushing attack that's helping to open up the passing game there as well. Sean Payton historically wins more in October than any other month. Under Payton, the Broncos are 7-3 straight up, 6-3-1 against the spread, and non-conference clashes with the NFC as well. I think Denver's rushing attack is going to be the big difference there, and their defense forcing Jalen Hurts to throw the football. I think it's going to expose Philadelphia a little bit there. Also, a prop that you might want to take a look at here. Bo Nix has gone over 18 rushing yards in 8 of his last 9 games going back to last season. That's a little sprinkle there. But give me Denver plus the points here.
All right. Chris has this on his card, too. He's taking the Eagles -4 for all the reasons you just said. He hates Sean Payton, doesn't like Bo Nix, doesn't like the Broncos. Probably also doing it to piss you off a little bit because he knows you like Denver. But yeah, he's taking Eagles -4. I'd probably go the under on this game. Might look at some prop bets. I don't know. the Eagles, they could be 0-4. They really could, but they just do enough to get the win, get the cover. So I don't know. It's like sometimes you got to create your own luck. Maybe that's what's going on. Good teams get lucky.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm staying away from either side because you just don't know with the Eagles. Give me the under. A lot of runs. Good defenses.
You mentioned good teams get lucky. I'll never forget. I was in a press conference once with former Virginia basketball coach Dave Lato, and I'll never forget. He said, "Was it you? It's better to be lucky than good," which I think Thomas Jefferson once said. But then he followed up with saying, "You put yourself in the position to be lucky," and that's what good teams do. And Philadelphia has not had all cylinders firing. They are not the same Philadelphia team that we saw win the Super Bowl, especially some of the stuff defensively. Nakobe Dean is out this week for Philadelphia. They haven't run the ball as well, but they find a way. They find a way. And maybe the spark plugs will hit and maybe this team will take off. But if you can win when you don't have your A game, that is the mark of a good team. The record says it. They're 4-0. They've conquered everyone so far. It ain't been pretty, but it's gotten done. But I think this is the week where some of those cracks start to open up and they get exposed a little bit against a very good Bronco team, better than that 2-2 record there. All right, so then last one on my card, and I believe one of you guys has this as well. Monday Night Football, 8:15 on ABC and ESPN. You got the Chiefs heading to Jacksonville, taking on the Jags. Jags 3-1. No one's talking about that. Jacksonville 3-1. Trevor Lawrence and the boys, by the way, wearing they're called them Prowler jerseys is the name that they've given those, but the throwbacks to the original. I see those uniforms, and I think Fred Taylor, I think Jimmy Smith, I think Mark Brunell, those are some decent Jacksonville teams back then. Over under here is 45.5. Kansas City laying the 3.5 points here. I go back and forth on this one, man.
So why you put it on your card?
Because it's a big game. To me, it's a big game. Yeah. And, you got Kansas City. No one expected through the first 4 weeks that Kansas City would be 2-2 here. And I think no one's really given a lot of respect to Jacksonville. I mean, right now, I like what they're building there. And our boy, Liam Cohen, is he's doing it, man. And you look at the first-year coaches with their new teams, he's clearly the best so far. Brian Thomas has had some issues there, but we've seen the resurgence, in his sophomore year, but we've seen the resurgence of ETN this year. They're playing some decent defense. Trevor Lawrence is doing what he needs to do. You can see the confidence growing each week for Jacksonville. I'm going to take the Jags plus the 3.5 points here. And I think Duval is going to be rocking there at Everbank Field. I believe the name of it is on Monday night. Give me Jacksonville plus 3.5, but a very lively plus 3.5. Wouldn't shock me at all if they send Kansas City to 2-3. Travis Kelce's had a good week. Apparently there's songs being made about his member. If you got a woman singing about your member, you've had a good week. This may not be a good week for him when this game is over.
Yeah, let's see in a couple of years if those songs have the same tone about Travis Kelce. Might do a 180. Yeah, I have this on my card. Also, I was thinking about the Jags plus 3.5, but I'm actually going to go the under, and it's at 46 even at a couple places.
Okay. Don't hate that.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah, we know Kansas City likes to hit these unders. I think this total might be a little too high based on, I think the Chiefs scoring 37 points last week against the Ravens might have raised this a point or two. But that's the Ravens. Their defense is terrible. You mentioned Jacksonville. Nobody really talking about them. They're 3-1, but the only reason why I didn't take that 3.5 points is because they've been getting a lot of turnovers. I don't know if that can keep happening, especially against the Chiefs. But yeah, I think both of these teams want to run the ball. And the offenses haven't been great. They're 17th and 18th in yards per play. So I can see both of these teams trying to run the ball. The Chiefs defense, run defense, number-wise, hasn't been great. But I think that might be skewed because of Lamar Jackson last week. They do have a really good defensive line. So, like I said, I think both teams are going to try to run the ball, maybe not have great success. And then both teams maybe just hitting up the short passing game, take some time off the clock. It could be a little bit of a struggle offensively. But, give me the under 46 on this one.
Under 46. I don't hate that. I may combo that for a little parlay a little bit later on here when I go into the lab and put some in. I don't hate that at all. I'm on the Jacksonville plus 3.5 here on this one. By the way, did you see the new renderings for the Jaguar Stadium? I don't have the graphic, but the renderings have come out. Looks really good. I don't know where they're going to be playing while they redo this.
How are they getting a new stadium?
The owner Shot Khan is putting in a ton of money. I think the city is putting in some money. Jacksonville,
really?
There's construction cranes everywhere all over the city. They're doing a lot downtown by the riverfront. Everything. This is a whole like revitalization thing going on down there. It's going to be a nice little entertainment district that they're building. Look out for that.
So they're supporting their team now.
Yeah, Shad Khan's putting in the money, man. He's doing his thing. But that new stadium looks glorious. I know the Florida-Georgia game is going to be played, I think, 1 year in Orlando and I think another year at the Falcons Stadium while they get this whole thing done. I don't know where the Jags are playing. I don't know if they're going to Gainesville or what are they doing. I don't know. I don't think there was talk about like going to Daytona International Speedway. That would be kind of cool. I don't know what they're going to do while they redo that, but when that's all said and done, it's going to be a really nice looking stadium there. I just hope that they keep the pool, Scotty. You know, I am trimming myself down a little bit. I can't wait to get my Speedo. I get down there and get into the pool in Jacksonville.
We don't need to think about that.
Once again, Jennifer Aniston, give me a phone call. All right, moving over to Chris's picks here for the National Football League. He had Vikings and Browns. We talked about that. I was on the other side of that with him. I was on under 36.5. He took Cleveland plus the 3.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving over to the next one on his card. Once again, him and I seeing opposite here. I got Denver plus the 4.5. He was
Eagles minus 4.
And then the last one on his card, absolutely gross. By the way, I just want to point out these graphics are not to scale because this is the only time that Kyler Murray would be the same height as like anyone.
Well, no, he still looks super small. He just looks like he's on a step stool.
Every time he rolls out and scrambles, and the way especially the way he carries the football when he's like running and trying to make that decision of run pass while he's scrambling, it just reminds me of like a small child that's stolen the remote control and you're trying to get it back from them and they're just scurrying. That's what it reminds me of. But little Kyler Murray and the Cardinals at home, 2-2, taking on the 0-4 Titans. Titans got shut out last week. The vibes are not good. If you saw the post-game presser last week, I think Brian Callahan, that's the head coach, right? Brian Callahan?
Yes.
Yeah. Who would know? It's the Titans. I think Brian Callahan wanted to take Paul Kasharsky out back and fight him. Each week, watch the Titans press conferences. Brian Callahan does not like Paul Kasharsky. He's been covering Tennessee for a long time. Each week you can feel the tension. They may fist fight before the year's over, but the vibes are not good in Tennessee right now. Titans 0-4, Arizona laying 7.5, over under 41.5, 405 CBS, America's Most Watch Network. What does Chris have?
He's got over 41. It's at 41 at a few places. I don't know. I think I kind of like that. Cardinals are going to put up some points. And I think the Cardinals are going to find a way to keep this game close. So I think maybe Tennessee puts up some points, enough to get the over. I think I might prefer Titans plus 7.5. Arizona shouldn't be laying this with any NFL team ever. They're just not that team that are going to, I think, beat people by a lot. They're going to keep things closer than they need to be. And then they'll all of a sudden show up against a really good team. And you think there's something. And then the next week they lose to a team like the Titans. So it wouldn't totally shock me I'm sure some people in their survivor pools are going to have the Cardinals. I would not be surprised if Tennessee ruins that and wins this outright. I'm probably going to have the Titans plus the 7.5.
Not bad. I had a chuckle, Scotty. I looked up for 1 second. I have College Game Day on my computer. two signs back to back. One says Diego has grandchildren, talking about Diego Pavia, and
Yeah.
another one with Dora the Explorer just said no, Diego, no. That's good. Going back to this particular game, though, I have no faith in this over whatsoever unless Arizona is doing the heavy lifting by themselves. 12, 19, 20, 0. What are those numbers? Those are the totals for the Titans so far this season. They scored 12.
That's all you need.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's say 12.
19 or 20. That's all you need.
12 was against a very good Broncos team, defense. 19 against the Rams. 20 against the Colts. They played some decent defenses. Then last week, the mighty Houston Texans shut you out. The vibes are not good. I have no faith in this team offensively at all whatsoever. I don't think they can do anything. I think they're lost. I think they've checked out on Callahan. He talks a lot of stuff about playing with intensity and hair on fire and all, and this team exhibits none of it whatsoever. He may be the next coach fired, and I know he's in year one, but just the vibes are just off. They just look bad. And like Cam Ward, I mean, I get it. He's only 4 starts into a professional career, but they're just not setting him up right now for success. I don't like anything that's going on in that building right now. I have no faith in them. I might take the Montreal Alouettes plus the points against the Titans right now.
Relax.
Yeah.
So. I was wrong about the Titans. I thought they were surprising people, and now they're surprising me. But I think they can improve. Texans have really good defense. They shouldn't be shutting an NFL team out, but the Cardinals are just that team that they're going to let you in the game. They're never going to meet their expectations. They're going to let bad teams stick around. So, Titans get 17 points and the Cardinals cover. That's all you need for the over. But I'm not touching the over under. I'm probably just going to go Titans plus the points.
So Chris has the over here, and what'd you say you got it at a 41?
Yeah.
Okay, so over 41 for Chris on this one here. So, all right, well then let's get into our underdog parlay. Last week we got.
You gonna let me do my NFL picks?
Oh, I thought we did it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Do you have graphics for mine, or?
Yeah, I got it. Okay. My bad. I thought we did it. We had so many in common this week. Jackson Dart making his first road start on the road, taking on Spencer Rattler. And those New Orleans Saints 0-4, Giants 1-3. No Malik Neighbors. Sadly, his knee is about as good as mine right now. New Orleans laying the 2.5, over under 41.5. 1 o'clock, CBS, America's Most Watched Network. What say you?
It seems like these ESPN lines, because I'm assuming that's where you getting the lines from is ESPN. They seem to be like the outlier for a lot of these, because it's I got the Saints minus 1.5 at a few places. The Giants just upset the Chargers. Jackson Dart's first start, and now the Saints are favored. So that might sound a little crazy. When I see that, I'm taking it. Public, heavy on the Giants because of that. And the line keeps moving the other way. So when I see that, I usually hop on the surprising line, the team the public's not on. So give me the Saints minus 1.5. Jackson Dart's first road start. Fade the rookies whenever that happens. Rattler hasn't been terrible. 5 touchdowns, only 1 interception on the year. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't been as bad as I guess most people thought he was going to be. The Giants are 29th against the run, and Kendre Miller is all of a sudden breaking out. Him and Alvin Kamara, I think, are going to have a lot of success, and I think maybe Dart turns the ball over a few times. They're riding high off that Chargers win. Going into New Orleans, which should still be some type of atmosphere there. Fans should still make some noise. I think the Saints get their first win and cover the 1.5.
This game was almost on my card, and I was going to take the Giants plus the points. This game was almost my dog of the week for the underdog parlay. I love the Giants in this game, even with the Malik Neighbors injury. I'm a big fan of their front seven, and I think they can get after the quarterback, and I think they're going to cause some pressure here for Rattler. But on the offensive side of things, yes, losing Neighbors is a big blow. Scatabo is going to be a bigger part of that offense, and I think New Orleans is going to focus on that. But I think this is going to be a good spot, especially if you're looking for fantasy football, if you're looking for a prop for Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton to kind of step up here. One big thing is, and I saw this on ESPN yesterday, if I remember correctly, Robinson lines up in the slot somewhere around like 68, 69% of the time. And the Saints allow like 8.6 yards or play or something like that to receivers that are in the slot, which is like fourth or fifth most in the league. Then you got Slayton, the guy who can take the top off. So I think they're going to come up a little bit. They're going to say, hey, this is the one-dimensional team without Neighbors. We're going to try to shut down Scatabo, and that should do it. But guess what? Dart can make plays with his legs. We saw the rushing scores last week, and I think they're going to be able to, nickel and dime it a little bit with Robinson. And then when they need to, when those safeties start creeping up, take some shots, go over the top with Darius Slayton for a big play. I like the Giants here. And I said it before Neighbors went down when they made that quarterback change, looking at the schedule. I said last week on the show, I liked them as lively here against the Chargers last week. They did get the win. I think this little stretch here, they have a chance to be a very live dog and to pull off another upset. I don't know how they're a dog here. I don't know. Vegas knows something I don't know. But I would put your money on the Giants here on this one.
Yeah, you mentioned their pass rush. The Saints might not really need to throw the ball. How bad the Giants' run defense has been. Amari Hampton destroyed them after the Chargers' run blocking was looking suspect, and they just destroyed them last week. So, I look for Kamara and Kendre Miller to both have pretty good games, and they're not going to need to throw the ball that much.
That's a fair point. I will say, though, Amari Hampton's going to be special. He's going to be special.
I hope so.
Yeah, but – all right, moving over to the next one on your card here. We got the Patriots at the Bills. The Bills rocking their rivalry uniforms this week. Scotty, before we get into your pick here, what do you think about those uniforms for Sunday Night Football?
I like them. Just imagine if it was snowing.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to bust this out, they should have waited for this reveal like whatever home game they have around Christmas, because I'm sure it's going to snow somewhere around there. It would have been great. Maybe, it's the Boise State effect that the blue turf with the blue uniforms blends in. Maybe the white jersey with a field full of snow in Buffalo. Maybe the NFL was like, no. You're going to bust these things out in like October, maybe. I don't know. But I don't hate them. I just wish they had them later in the year. But I digress. Buffalo laying 8.5. 49.5 is a total. 8:15 Sunday Night Football. Carrie Underwood will sing us into this one on NBC. What say you?
That was Sunday night. Yeah, they can always wear those uniforms again later in the year if it snows. But yeah, I am taking. Let me make sure this number is still where I got it, because I'm taking the over regardless of what it is. But it was 48.5 somewhere. Yeah. 48.5 at Caesars and bet 365. Seems like a lot of points for a division night game, but both of these offenses are rolling. Drake May is starting to look like a really good quarterback. We know Buffalo's offense is going to put up points. This is somehow the Bills' fourth home game already.
Yeah.
And they are 3-0 to the over in those other three home games. And, they like to show up at primetime. The offense does. They seem to be in shootouts a lot in the primetime games. The week 1 game against Baltimore was insane. But, in their run defense, the Bills is giving up 6 yards a run. That's third worst in the league. So maybe Patriots can run the ball a little bit, set up Drake May to go out there and make plays. I just kind of see a shootout happening here. I think Buffalo is obviously going to put up some points against the Patriots, and I think Drake May is going to have a good game. And Stephon Diggs is starting to come on a little bit. Revenge game for him. Give me the over 48.5 on this one.
Don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I didn't go into this game and look at a ton on this one, so I don't have a ton of analysis on this, but just eyeballing when I was looking at this kind of briefly yesterday, my first thought was I do like that total. I think that's a attainable number there. I don't hate that. All right, moving over for you here. The next one on your card.
I already talked about this.
We already talked about this. I had Jacksonville.
Under 46.
Yeah, you were under 46 on this one. You got that number, and I got Jacksonville plus the 3.5 here on that one. So that does it for your NFL picks. Next up, our underdog parlay this week. We got eviscerated last week. I know it was my fault. I forgot what game I had as my dog last week. I've already pushed it out of my memory here, but that was my fault last week early on. But we got Buster. Buster is still hungry. I forgot to God damn it! I forgot to update the graphic in the corner there. We used BetMGM last week. We did not use BetMGM for the odds this week. I think I updated it on the final reveal graphic. Yeah, there we go. ESPN Bet. So first up here is me, Maryland plus 180 there on the ESPN Bet at home, taking on the Washington Huskies. Listen. I have never been a fan of the University of Maryland for anything. I think it's a hideous, horrible campus. It's always under construction. It's a terrible place. If you can read and write and maybe shoot a basketball, you can go to school there. But that doesn't matter. Washington was 0-4 last year on their Eastern road trips. They lost to Rutgers, Indiana, Iowa, and Penn State. That was 2,748 miles traveled. That was the longest possible road trip in the Big Ten there. Big Ten teams west of the Rockies are 21% winning percentage on East Coast road games, excluding Ohio State and Penn State and Oregon. But they're coming off an emotional loss to Ohio State last week. Classic letdown spot. The air, has been let out of the tires on that one. Also, you played Ohio State last week. One of the best teams in the nation. They're physical. They're tough. Now you have a short turnaround, cross-country flight, and then you get a Maryland team who is looking to go 5-0 for the first time since 2001. I believe Ralph Friedgen was leading those Terps then. Maryland's coming off a bye week, so they've had time to prepare. Now, usually coming off a bye week and getting ready for a game is a good thing. Not for Maryland, usually. Mike Locksley is 0-9 after bye weeks, but this is different. They're healthy, and this is a more talented Maryland team that he's had in past. SECU Stadium, I'll always call it Bird Stadium, will be packed. The atmosphere is going to be electric. This is the biggest Maryland home game in years. They're rested, they're healthy, and the X factor is their freshman quarterback, Malik Washington, true freshman. He's got 1,038 yards through the air, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 pick through 4 games. ESPN right now had him, I saw earlier in the week, is like the top freshman in the country right now. He's only been sacked once all season long, so he's getting great protection from that offensive line. He got himself an NIL deal with Lido's Pizza. That's the only bad mistake he's made this year, is that's just not good pizza. But Maryland, on the other side of the ball, their defense is number 6 nationally in scoring defense. They give up 10.8 points a game. They haven't allowed more than 17 points a game in any game this season. They shut down Wisconsin's run game completely last time out. They're second in sacks in the Big Ten with 16. Give me Maryland to pull the upset at home. The public, by the way, is all over Washington in this game. They see the name. No one's respecting Maryland football right now. Trap game for the Huskies. Give me the Terps.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Fade the old Pac-12 on the East Coast. Never a bad idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are no bad NIL deals. Money's money. You can get. And if you're a college student and get some free pizza out of it, why not?
Have you ever ate Lido Pizza?
It's been years. There used to be one beside the food line I used to work at. It wasn't bad.
You know what? I could sign an NIL deal with Little Caesars.
It's hard to make bad pizza anyways. Even if it's bad pizza, it's still pretty good.
I say it's easy to make bad pizza. It's hard to make good pizza. But that's the day.
Bad pizza is still pretty good.
It's like, never mind. I'm not going to finish that thought. Next up here, we got Cal plus 135. Who's riding the Golden Bears?
That was me. I don't really love too many. I almost went baseball. I don't know if you could do that. I almost went with the Dodgers, but I wasn't sure if they were going to stay underdogs or not because they're right around even money right now. But yeah, I guess give me Cal. Just Duke is finally having some expectations, and they're just – I don't know, the game against Illinois, they just did everything they could to not be in the game. Now they're traveling all the way to Cal. I can see them just not really being up and the travel affecting them and them doing some dumb shit to lose the game.
Hey, outside of that San Diego State game, their freshman quarterback, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce, has been great this year. Both of these upsets right now triggered by freshman quarterbacks. So youth leading the way here. But I don't hate that. Anytime a team has to go cross country, always adds in an extra variable there.
And then, fade the old Pac-12 going on the East Coast. Right them playing the East Coast at home.
You got it. And then Chris is upset this week. He's got the New York Football Giants at home. On the road there in New Orleans, taking on the Saints.
Well, if both of ours hit, then either my bet hits or Underdog hits. So I see the logic. I think the Saints are going to win, but.
I like this. I love it. I'm gonna hammer our parlay here because on ESPN Bet, when I put this in for the show, you're at 13-15. So if you took a crisp $100 bill, Scotty, and you put it on that, what would you make?
You would win $1,315 plus your 100 back.
That should be enough to pay the rent in most places across America, at least I think. I don't know. Really. Maybe not Des Moines. Maybe not New York. I'm thinking like Des Moines or something.
Maybe Des Moines.
Yeah, Sheboygan or something maybe. But hey,
those places. It's like Euro trip when they're like, we only have $1.38 left or whatever it is, and they get like a 5-star hotel and drink service and.
I went to Alabama a few weeks ago, and I discovered that I think outside of Huntsville, I think the whole state is pretty affordable down there. I just might move down there. Space Force is moving to Huntsville. I might move down there with them. But yeah, 13-15 is the odds on that. Put a crisp $100 bill. As you said, you get $1,315 plus your $100 back for a payout of $1,415. That is our Underdog parlay of the week there.
And if the Giants win, they might win 13-15. So maybe it's meant to be.
Maybe 15-13, Scotty. Here in America, we say the winning score first.
So. Oh no. But that's not what the odds are.
Oh yeah. Well,
trust me. Trust me. That's one of my pet peeves when people say the lower score first.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
That's my brother. It pisses me off.
This is not.
It doesn't piss me off. Yeah. Gets on my nerves. It just like I don't know. It does something to my brain. It's like
gets them all riled up and jumbled up here. Also, make sure if you haven't already, check out the Let's Not Do This podcast Wednesday nights, 7:30 p.m. right back here on this very same channel as we talk about Thursday night football. We talk about early college football on Thursday and Friday, any weird news, all that good stuff. And then on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock here on the same channel, I have the Getting Loose with Leon podcast as we talk about NASCAR and F1. F1 tomorrow, 8 a.m. They are in Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix there. Earlier this week, Scotty, I got Max Verstappen as my winner on this. I'm not sure where the odds are on this now, but earlier this week when I put it in, I got, if I can maneuver to that. Why isn't it not maneuvering? There we go. Earlier this week on Bet365, I got Max Verstappen at plus 250 to get a win there. He's won the last 2 races on the F1 calendar, but he's never won in Singapore. And then for NASCAR, they're in Charlotte. It's the last round of the playoffs before the cutoff to 8 there. They're on the Roval at Charlotte. They're doing a little road course racing tomorrow at 3 on the USA Network. I got this at plus 100 earlier in the week, an absolute steal for Shane Van Gisbergen going for his 5th straight win on the road course. I believe right now in most places it's minus 200 for SVG, but I got it at plus 100 earlier in the week. If you were following the show, you would have got that too. So, make sure to follow along and get those picks as well. So, just want to talk.
He's not SVG. SVG is Stan Van Gundy.
I don't think Stan Van Gundy knows that he exists anymore. What the hell is Stan Van Gundy doing now?
He's still being the man, commentating.
My buddy Michael Basegli of Bad Weather Fans fame had a Stan Van Gundy on his podcast network. He was doing his show
Nice.
a few years ago. I'm not sure whatever happened to that show, but hey, kudos to him for having that going. So, all right. And speaking of which, give those guys over at Bad Weather Fans a follow. NBA season starting up. If you are a Brooklyn Nets fan, I'm sorry. If you are a New York Knicks fan, you would like that. If you're in that tri-state area up there, just want to talk about sports up there. Those guys do a great job covering that. Mainly Knicks and Nets center, but they do hit the Giants and they do hit the Jets and every now and then the Yankees and the Mets, but they do not touch the Devils, Rangers, or Islanders. But that's okay. They do what they can. But yeah, make sure to check those guys out and follow along. All right, well, we're going to get out of here, put a bow on things. We will see you back here Wednesday night, 7:30 for the Let's Not Do This podcast. I'm going to make beer disappear and begrudgingly root for those Maryland Terrapins because we need our underdog parlay to hit this week. Scotty, I'll see you when I see you.
All right.